What began as an ordinary dinner with my wife and her family spiraled into a night that changed everything. Sarah and I had been married for 2 years. While our relationship wasn't flawless, I believed we could overcome our differences. That evening proved me wrong. The restaurant she selected was far more extravagant than I was comfortable with. Crystal chandeliers glisten above, and the servers move with practiced elegance. The kind of place where the prices alone made my stomach tighten. Sarah had invited her parents, her sister, and her sister's fiancé. 6 of us in total. When the menus arrived, my unease deepened. The dishes were outrageously priced, but I kept quiet, telling myself to focus on the evening rather than the bill. I listened politely to her father's familiar stories, though my thoughts drifted back to the cost. Throughout dinner, Sarah kept casting me sharp looks, as if something weighed on her mind. I chose not to ask, assuming she'd bring it up later in private. Then the check arrived. "Can you give me your card?" she asked casually, though her tone carried an expectation that cut through me. "For what?" I asked, already suspecting the answer. "For dinner," she said firmly, as if it were obvious. I froze. "You expect me to cover the whole table?" "Yes," she said, her voice hardening. "It's dinner with my family. You're my husband. This shouldn't even be a question." I took a deep breath, keeping my tone steady. "No, I didn't agree to this, and it's too expensive. I'm not paying for everyone." Her face turned red, her eyes blazing. "So you're going to humiliate me in front of my family?" she snapped. "I'm not humiliating you," I replied quietly. "You put me in this situation." Before I could say more, she hurled her glass of red wine across the table. The cold liquid splashed over my face and shirt. The restaurant went silent. Something in me cracked. I stood, and before I could stop myself, I struck her. The sharp sound echoed in the hushed dining room. She gasped, clutching her cheek as tears welled in her eyes. Her father shot to his feet, furious. "How dare you lay a hand on my daughter?" he shouted. Diner stared, stunned. I refused to escalate further. I turned and walked out, her sobs and her father's shouts trailing behind me. At home, I sat in silence, replaying everything. Shame gnawed at me for losing control, but so did the sting of humiliation. I waited for Sarah to come home. She never did. My calls went unanswered, my messages unread. By the 3rd day, I knew she wasn't coming back. To my surprise, I felt relief. I didn't want a marriage built on humiliation and unspoken expectations. I contacted a lawyer and filed for divorce, providing only what was legally required. No fights, no drawn-out arguments, just a clean break. Once everything was finalized, I packed her things, left them with a mutual friend, and blocked her number. I didn't want reminders of that night haunting me. Now, looking back, I see it clearly. Some relationships aren't meant to survive. We both made mistakes, but that night revealed the worst in each of us. Walking away was painful, but necessary. It taught me a lesson I'll never forget, never to let anger or pride dictate my choices again. That chapter is closed, and I've moved forward, determined to build a better life, free of that toxicity.